Hello there, welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I'm Gete. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed an application filed by the federal government seeking the extradition of Senator Buruji Kashamu to the United States to face drug-related charges. The trial judge, Justice Gabriel Kolawole, dismissed the suit on the grounds that the plaintiff did not appeal two separate judgments delivered by Justice Okonabang and Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court, Lagos, on the issue. Justice Kolawole held that it was the executive duty of the Court of Appeal to determine whether the judgments were right or wrong. A federal high court sitting in Lagos has discharged and acquitted a former aviation minister, Femi Fani-Kayode, of corruption charges. Olajumoke Olatunji, who was at the court hearing, filed in this report.
In her judgments, presiding judge Rita Ofili Ajimogobio says the case is feeble and also failed to provide copious evidence linking Fani-Kayode to money laundering. The allegedly laundered sum was, however, reduced to 2.1 million naira on November 17, 2014, after the court dismissed 38 of the 40-count charge levied against Fani-Kayode for want of proof. The FCC prosecutor Festus Keyamo, while urging the court to uphold the remaining 2-count charge, pointed out that the object of the charge was that Fani-Kayode transacted in cash sums above 500,000 naira, which was the threshold stipulated by the Money Laundering Act. Keyamo had argued that Fani-Kayode admitted making such transactions in his confessional statement of December 22, 2008. To the EFCC, prosecuting counsel Festus Keyamo reacted to the judgments this way.
Has been given. We as a commission will sit down and look at the judgments, and then we will take a decision, a corporate decision on the judgment. That's all I have to say.
Fani-Kayode's lawyer, Ifeda Akwade, in a summary argument, maintained that Fani-Kayode made no confession to the FCC, adding that the anti-graft agency failed to show they actually accepted a cash sum of 1 million naira as alleged. He added that the FCC also failed to show to the court the person who handed the cash sum to the accused person.
The court delivered its considered judgment in the matter, considered all the evidence led by the prosecution, considered the position of the law, and agreed with us that the accused person, Femi Fani-Kayode, committed no offense known to law. And we're very happy about this.
Femi Fani-Kayode, in his reaction, could not hide his excitement at the verdict, which he says is long overdue.
In the last 7 years, I've been subjected to the most malicious, vicious, sinister, well-orchestrated, insidious and devastating form of political persecution and wickedness. The whole process almost destroyed my life, my family, my reputation, my health and my career. I thank God for His goodness, His mercy, and for the fact that today the whole nightmare has finally come to an end. 1st of July 2015, 7 years to the day from that day when I was first arrested and first put into detention, I have been discharged and acquitted of all remaining charges by the courts. The Lord has once again honored His word. To Him alone be the glory. As a mark of honor and respect for the Lord and as an everlasting testimony of my love for and dedication to Him, I wish to make it known to the Nigerian public that as from today my name will be changed. It will no longer be David Oluwafemi Fani-Kayode, but instead it shall be David Oluwafemi Olukayode. Olukayode means the Lord has brought me joy.
The trial of the former aviation minister began on the 11th of July 2008 before Justice Ramat Mohammed, and the verdict is coming about 7 years after. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has arraigned 2 officials of the National Anti-Corruption Volunteer Corps, NACV, Akinyemi Badejogun and Olarenwaju Bakare, for alleged theft of 72.6 million naira. Badejogun and Bakare are the coordinator and treasurer, respectively, of the Lagos chapter of the NACV. The ICPC on Tuesday charged them with 36 counts before Justice Lateef Lawal Akakpo of the Lagos State High Court in Ikeja. But the 2 officers pleaded not guilty to all the charges. However, the ICPC in its charge before the court alleged that Badejogun and Bakare conspired to commit felony stole and fraudulently converted funds belonging to the NAVC to their own personal use. They were also accused of making false and misleading statements to an operative of the ICPC. The officers, the Commission alleged, were committed offences the Commission alleged were committed between December 2010 and November 28, 2011. In the one of the counts, Bade Jogung and Bakare allegedly conspired to transfer 55 million naira from the NAVC's account in Fidelity Bank into another bank belonging to the core in the same bank. According to the ISPC, they accused this to confer a corrupt advantage on themselves and thereby run foul of Section 19 and Section 26 subsection 1C of the ICPC Act 2000. In another instance, the accused persons allegedly fraudulently transferred 800,000 naira from the account of the trustees of the Lagos chapter of the NAVC in Fidelity Bank and converted them to their own. Following the arraignment and not guilty plea, Lawal Akapo adjourned till July 3, 2015 to entertain the applications for bail. The Rivers State House of Assembly has approved the request by the state governor, Chief Nwisom Wike, seeking the House approval of 20 billion naira loan. Wike had sent the letter to the House through the Speaker Ikuyi Awaji Ibani, saying the loan facility is intended to complete some uncompleted road project embarked upon by the previous administration and also for some new road projects to be executed by his administration. The letter highlights the resolve to continue viable ongoing projects. The government has met with contractors handling major road construction in the state with a view to mobilizing them back on site. It further reiterates that these projects, when completed, will accelerate economic development in the state and improve the social well-being of our people. However, since the state government has no funds in its coffers, it will be unable to mobilize any contractor to site without first finding the funds on willing development partner. Meanwhile, the governor had also earlier sought an approval from the House for a 10 billion naira loan, which was granted by the House. The Osun Civil Societies Coalition, OCSC, and the Democratic Socialist Movement, DSM, have expressed disagreement over the call by Justice Folahanmi Olayede on the House of Assembly to impeach Governor Ralph Aregbesola. Justice Oloyede had cited the governor's inability to pay workers' salaries for over 7 months as one of her reasons for her call for Aregbesola's removal. While the OCSC said that it had petitioned the National Judicial Council to investigate the judge, the DSM said Oloyede had done nothing wrong and she should be commended for her courage. The Osun State Coordinator of the DSM, Mr. Alfred Adegoke, and Secretary Mr. Kola Ibrahim, in their statement said the judge's petition just stated what was already known to the people of the state. The OCSC, however, stated that the judge had brought the judiciary into ridicule by dabbling into partisan politics while stating that her allegations against the governor were unfounded. The letter partly reads, "It behoves us to say that the words and language in the petition are unbecoming and ungainly for the high standard of conduct expected of any judicial officer in this country. If appropriate action was not meted on her, a floodgate will be opened and every willing and available judicial officer would soon become an instrument of use for the purpose of partisan politics." The OCSC noted that the words employed by the judge were meant to incite members of the public against Aregbesola. But the DSM alleged that the Aregbesola's administration plunged the state into the current financial crisis because of the reckless spending by the governor. Osun State government has announced a 50% cut in salaries and allowances of all political office holders in the state, even as it commenced process of paying the salaries of civil servants in the state. In a statement by Shemu Okanlawong, Director, Bureau of Communications and Strategy, Office of the Governor, the government said it is paying the balance of November and full December salary arrears owed its workers. The statement further reads that the government was saddened and troubled by the turn of events in the financial status of the state and the country at large, is taking responsibility for the unfortunate problem and is prepared to meet the challenge head-on. Since the inception of this government, we have treated the resources under our control with the utmost respect and disbursed them diligently for the greater benefit of our people. Our mandate had always been to use our God-given wealth to bridge the gap between the downtrodden and the government. It is very unfortunate that we find ourselves unable to pay our workers their due wages for several months, when in the past we stood for paying on or before the 25th of each month. We thank the ever-understanding workers of our state and for their patience as we go through this most trying time. The World Bank Board has approved $200 million, that's about 40 billion naira, in credit to Lagos State to support a range of reforms on fiscal sustainability, budget planning and investment climate. The bank said in a statement that the fund will help sustain the state's recent economic growth and poverty reduction while continuing to deliver social services to the city's expanding population. It also quotes the World Bank Country Director, Mary Franchos, saying that the credit would help Lagos adapt a new approach to budget planning with a view to ensuring adequate allocation of resources to social services such as education and health. It added that the credit is in support of the third Lagos State Development Policy Operation, the last of a series of 2 development policy operations aimed at improving public finances and investment climate in a fiscally sustainable manner. A group known as Forum for Agenda Setting has dispelled the rumor in some quarters that the immediate past governor of Abia State, Theodore Oji, allegedly bolted away with the May allocation of the state. The group described the rumor as a cheap blackmail by the political opponents of the ex-governor who were bent on tarnishing his good image. In a press statement issued in Umuahia and endorsed by Dr. James Okpara and Chijioke Madu, President and Secretary of the group respectively, the group enjoined members of the public to disregard the rumor, describing it as baseless, fictitious, unfounded, and a figment of the imagination of those who contrived it. Quoting the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Anastasia Nwabi, the group said, from all indications, May allocation was never shared, and the former governor did not make away with any fund accruing to the state. Nor was he responsible for the non-payment of salaries of workers in the civil and public service. According to the group, the late disbursement of the May allocation was due to the absence of a substantive accountant general of the Federation and the problems associated with transition from one administration to another. The statement reads in part, "It all boils down to dragging the name of the former governor in the mud. We want to appeal to Abia workers and the political class, especially the opposition parties, to always get their facts correctly before crunching out lies and half-truth to the public, all with the aim of chasing a perceived enemy, especially when such individual is one that was devoted to his time and energy contributing to the development of the state." A group of Igbo professionals under name Igbo Conscious have appealed to Nigerians across ethnic lines to desist from art that could truncate the existing peace in the country. Chairman of the group, Monday Ubani, says part of the agenda of the group was to promote national unity and integration. Ubani reiterates the commitment of the group joined force with other ethnic groups in order to strengthen the peaceful coexistence in the country.
We extend our hand of fellowship to other ethnic groups, as I said earlier. It's very key. Those groups that hold the same view with us, who have the same world view, that we need to stay together in peace and live together in peace. We will extend our hand of fellowship and then form partnership in order to now educate, our fellow citizens that we do not in any way dwell on those things that divide us, but that I think that actually unite us together. We will not allow religion, we will not allow ethnicity, we will not allow any of these divisive tendencies to actually separate us. We will rather emphasize the things that unite us. And by the time we do that, we'll begin now on a new orientation, a new teaching, so that we can live together and move this country forward.
It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break. Stay with us.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it is about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
Welcome back at CoreTV News at 4. Now for more information on our station, you can reach us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTVNews. On Twitter at CoreTVNewsNG. And on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV_News. The Senate, under the leadership of Senate President Bukola Saraki, insist that recent events in the National Assembly will not affect relations with the executive. It also says it is keen on supporting the anti-corruption agenda of the Buhari administration. This was the thrust of the message Senator Saraki delivered when he received the French ambassador to Nigeria, Denis Gava, at the National Assembly complex.
The French ambassador did not mince words on the reason behind his visit to the National Assembly. He made it clear that France was concerned about the leadership tussle in the legislature and the possibility of having an adverse effect on governance.
I would be this morning, of course, interested in having your views on, Mr. President, on the present political situation in Nigeria. Well, we all noticed that there were some difficulties during the last weeks. It was not easy to put it in place, but well, this is democracy. But I would be interested in having your views on that and on how you see the future of the work of the Senate. Also, what are your priorities here in the Senate? How you see the future collaboration between the executive and the Parliament.
These elicited some form of assurances from the Senate President, who maintained that recent events in the National Assembly would not hamper governance in any way. Saraki insisted that the Senate under his watch would support the President's anti-corruption measures.
You must have observed some of the events of the last few days. And sometimes, as you all know, I'm sure when we go through elections, so these sort of things do tend to happen. But gradually, as you can see, we're settling down, and that would really be a thing of the past. I don't think in any way, I can assure you, will affect the collaboration or cooperation between the National Assembly and the Executive to lead by example. And of course, the fight against corruption, which is a key issue for the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, that we're going to give all our support to see how that can improve, on how different agencies can be more efficient. If there are overlaps, we can see how to improve and streamline and ensure that these areas are addressed.
The Senate President also urged France to do more to support Nigeria and its neighbors in the war against insurgency.
We need the support to continue regards intelligence and also regards military support in not only the immediate issues, but also the military reform in long-term and training and knowledge. I think at the moment we have some short-term approaches, but I believe there should be some medium to long-term in looking at how do we strengthen the military on the long term.
He informed the French delegation that the Senate has put in place an 18-man committee to work on a realistic legislative agenda for the 8th Senate. These, he argued, would come up with a roadmap to tackling issues including poverty alleviation, national security, commercial disputes, eradication of corruption, and investments in the petroleum sector.
The House of Representatives has inaugurated a 15-member ad hoc committee on the review of the standing orders. The committee, led by Orka Jev Yisa, is to come up with new sets of guidelines for legislative activities for the next 4 years. Speaking at the brief ceremony, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who was represented by his deputy Yusuf Lasson, charged the committee members to be thorough in carrying out their duties. The committee, which has 3 weeks to conclude its task, is also expected to perform the functions of the House Committee on Rules and Business until such is constituted.
There is no aspect of the standing order that is off limits. You should feel free to dissect the standing orders and propose amendment to any rule you think is required to strengthen the operation of the House. The leadership will provide the committee with a list of areas it had identified for review, but you are enjoined to cast a wide net in a bid to provide a holistic review of the standing orders. The committee jurisdiction shall cover A. Making recommendations on revisions of the standing orders of the House. B. Ensuring that the jurisdiction of the House committees do not overlap. C. Carrying out all functions of the Standing Committee on Rules and Business of the House pending its constitution. D. Any other recommendation incidental or relevant to the subject matter of the committee's jurisdiction. E. Handing any other matter as may be assigned to it by the House or Honorable Speaker.
Deputy Senate Leader Bala Ibn Nala is convinced that the former interim chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Bisi Akande, did not blame the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President on northern conspiracy against the Southwest. He insists that the one-time Osun State Governor must have been misquoted. Senator Nala maintained in an interview with journalists in Abuja that there was no ethnic consideration or gang-up against any part of the country.
Mr. Akande is a very respected senior member of this country, and I am not so sure he has not been misquoted as it relates to that issue. We are a united country, whether we like it or not, with some few interests being defined at different levels of our governance. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, I do not want to believe that there is any conspiracy. If there is conspiracy on the part of the North, what makes you think that the conspiracy will involve bringing somebody from the PDP and Southeast to be the Senate President of... Look, things happen not as expected. So I do not want to believe that that statement has not been erroneously attributed to Chief Bisi Akande. We hold him in high esteem, and I don't want to believe that that is an issue that we should talk about.
Exactly 1 month into the new administration, Nigerians have begun to question the seeming slow pace of work the administration has taken, having raised the expectation of Nigerians during the last campaign. Addressing the issue in a media briefing, the APC spokesman Lai Mohammed said, despite being given handover note just 4 days before inauguration by the past administration, with a lot of mess to clear, the president has in the past 1 month achieved measurable heights in the fight against insurgency.
It's been about 1 month now since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed office, and I can tell you that there has been motion and there has been movement, contrary to what is being peddled in some quarters. The expectations are high and urgent, and the Buhari administration has started addressing them, despite the enormous challenges that it faces, including an empty treasury and an economy that has virtually collapsed. The Buhari administration got the handover notes from the former government just 4 days before the inauguration, hampering its efforts to have a clear understanding of the situation on ground before taking the necessary measures to address it. If any disease is not appropriately diagnosed, it cannot be effectively treated.
The Cross River State Governor Ben Anyade says he did not inherit an empty treasury from the past administration in the state, as was being speculated in some quarters. Anyade said this in Calabar while briefing stakeholders, including the media, on his developmental agenda for the state. He said, "I did not inherit empty treasury, but I inherited a great potential from my predecessor." The governor said as part of efforts to tap the abundant resources in the state, his administration was exploring the option of setting up a mining corporation for the state. They stated that through the mining corporation, the state will take advantage of the vast mineral resources in the state and establish its own cement factory and quarry company. The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, may embark on an indefinite strike from July 2015. This is as a result of allegations that the federal government wants the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission to stop paying salaries of university staff, school teachers. SANU President Samson Nwoke, who gave the indication in Abuja, insists that government cannot opt out of the salary arrangement, which is a fallout of the 2019 FGN-SANU agreement without renegotiation. The union further described the alleged plans as discriminatory when government is still funding Navy, Army, Air Force and police staff schools. Meanwhile, thousands of aggrieved local government employees stormed the Edo State Secretariat of the Nigeria Labour Congress to express their grievances over non-payment of their salaries. The state's president of Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, Noge Young Ilekena, who led the staff to Labour House in Benin, joined the NLC to take action against the oppressive tendencies of state government, whom he noted have been insensitive to their plight. The report.
This protest is about the 10th in the last couple of months since they began. Yet there appears to be no progress in sight over their pay as the financial crunch bites harder. The aggrieved local government staff are from 15 councils of the state demanding their immediate pay of their salaries running into several months. Meanwhile, the state government had told local government weeks back to take care of its responsibility.
As of today, local government is not autonomous. So that means they are under the state government. So the state cannot shy away from it. We are the responsibility of the state because we have Ministry of Local Government. So, comrades, our money is being managed by the Ministry of Local Government. So the state cannot wash its hands off it.
State Chairman of Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Emmanuel Ademoku, in his solidarity assured the workers of its support of the workers, having given 2 weeks ultimatum to the state government to pay up or face a strike action.
2 weeks ultimatum to Edo State government and to local government administrations in the state to pay your salaries ranging between 1 month to 8 months, now 9 months. Comrades, should we issue that letter ultimatum to government and to the local government administration?
After words of assurance from the leadership of the state NLC, the protesting workers later dispersed as they expect the government to heed their call soon.
Nigeria's military says troops at the forefront requires public support to win the war against insurgency. It ordered that in spite of negative reports in some segments of the international media, its personnel remain resolute and steadfast at the battlefront. The French spokesman Chris Olukolade said this at the public presentation of his book in Abuja. Correspondent Paya Samo reports.
After years of battling insurgents in the northeast, the military accept that public opinion is not in its favor. This is why it has been taking steps to win public support, and the books authored by the defense spokesman are part of efforts to ensure that Nigerians appreciate the efforts of soldiers at the front line. Speakers at the book's presentation say the combat possibilities of the troops can only be felt with requisite military hardware.
Even the Amnesty International that is supporting that kind of thing, they were aware that the United States was one of the countries that had emphatically compromised the rule of engagement, because there's no how you will carry out counter-insurgency operation without collateral damage.
When I took the book from him, when he gave me, I actually was running through my mind thoughts as to what he meant by battle.
For his part, the former Minister of Information, Jerry Gana, is convinced that the Nigerian military is one of the best in the world. He, however, wants governments to build on institutions rather than individuals. This, he says, will help stem the tide against insecurity in the country.
The only arrangement for making sure we're at peace is a federal setup. Anyone who is thinking of something else is looking for trouble, because the best way in which people of these diversity, over 300 languages or more, different, and for everyone, their language and culture is very important, because that is their reality, that is their consciousness, that is their own way of really feeling good.
Kudos, therefore, should be given to our military for their patience, perseverance, commitment, and professional ethics, which came to play in the face of series of provocation in the war against terrorists.
The author, Chris Olukolade, laments the way the international media has misrepresented the truth and misinformed the public on military operations in the Northeast. The military spokesman dedicated his literary work to the officers and men who lost their lives in the fight against Boko Haram in the Northeast.
For many years, the Nigerian public and their armed forces have lived under mutual assured destruction, one viewing the other as potential enemy. But should that continue? My answer is I don't really believe so.
The Nigerian military also used the forum to again called on the public to give adequate information that will enhance the war against insurgency. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
France President Francois Hollande has invited his Nigerian counterpart Muhammadu Buhari to Paris for a follow-up meeting on the security situation in the northeast region. The French ambassador to Nigeria, Denis Grava, disclosed this on the sidelines of a Katse call and Senate President Bukola Saraki in Abuja. He maintained that France has shown enough commitment to ensuring the success of the war against insurgency by encouraging its former colonies in West Africa to cooperate with Nigeria.
This meeting, this summit organized in Paris in May last year, the objective of it was to bring together the leaders of Nigeria and of the surrounding countries to promote a better cooperation and collaboration among them in the fight against Boko Haram. And I must say, well, since then, this cooperation precisely developed quite positively. President Hollande met President Buhari in Germany in the framework of the G7 recently. They discussed about that, and they convened to develop the cooperation in terms, bilateral cooperation in terms of intelligence, of military cooperation also. So, well, we hope that it will continue that way and that finally this terrorist threat can be eliminated.
The disruption of the Odoye Descendants Day celebration of the Odoye community in Ijero local government area of Ekiti State has thrown the community and the whole Ijero town into turmoil amid a palpable fear of the unknown. While the leaders of the Odoye community accused the paramount ruler of Ijero Kingdom of disrupting their yearly family celebration, the king says the disruption, which led to the loss of property, is because of the sinister motive of the organizers in seeking autonomy by pulling out of the Ijero Confederation. This development has pitched the two factions against each other. Rashid, who visited the community, has more in this report.
For first-time visitors like us, Odoye community and the whole of Ijero town is one and with peace reigning. But on closer look, there is palpable tension and deep-seated animosity between the Odoye community and the paramount ruler of Ijero, or Wajero. The reason for this, though, is not far-fetched. The people of Odoye community say armed thugs under the instruction of the Owajero over the weekend laid siege on Odoye community entrance, blocking easy passage and disrupting the yearly Odoye descendant celebration billed to hold at the weekend. Property worth millions were also destroyed in their assembly.
For the Ijero himself to import thugs, armed, OPC thugs, armed with the thugs he's using in the Ijero to come and disrupt the peace of Odoye, the people of Odoye, and disrupt and prevented us during our celebration, destroying all the rented equipment, most of the rented equipment, and destroying all our food is unacceptable. It is illegal, unlawful, barbaric.
My canopy is burnt, my drum, tables,
and some chairs. So
what message are you passing across to the government?
I am positive person, the message that the government will come to help me.
The Ajero of Ijero Kingdom, Oba Joseph Adewale, who admitted the disruption of the said celebration, says the leaders of Odoye community are seeking for autonomy in the guise of family celebration, despite the community being just a sub-quarters under Ijero Kingdom.
Their real aim is to take that sub-quarter out of this town and make it a separate community. And that is what they are gunning at. So, that they want to do family celebration is just a small screen. Because they didn't take permission from me, I made up my mind not to allow them to do it.
Will I, a responsible, retired senior military officer, now saying I want to initiate autonomy? The answer is no. We know the law.
With the hitherto peaceful communities now at each other's throat, the state government's intervention is needed in order to avert escalation of the already tensed situation.
For the mere fact that we allow them to be moving just like that, another thing is still going to come. So we are begging government to come and react to this situation.
With the Odoye community accusing the police and the Oba of Ijero of connivance and complicity, the two sides still remain in the trenches, ready to do battle. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ijero Ekiti.
The Police High Command has again assured Nigerians that no security vacuum will be created following the withdrawal of military personnel from checkpoints across the country. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase gave the assurance at the opening of a meeting with senior officers to review security in the first half of the year. The police chief also disclosed that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, will be provided with a new dress code to enable them stand out from hoodlums during the operations.
The President has given a directive that our colleagues in the military should withdraw from some of the areas that they were mounting roadblocks to assist us as part of their constitutional role for military assistance to civil authorities. And we have agreed that there should be a dress code for all our SARS, nationally, so that they will be able to be identified with it. But because of paucity of funds, we are trying to get some designs, which the DIG in charge of logistics is trying to bring up to management for approval. And once that is done, we'll unveil it, and everybody will know what the dress code for the SARS operatives are supposed to look like.
As part of its renewed war against cultism and other criminal acts, the Imo State Police Command have engaged a group of young boys said to be cultists in a shootout leading to the death of one of them in Owerri. Correspondent Ajibade Ofeson has more and a report from Owerri.
Following on from complaints of harassment and attacks by some unknown gunmen near the Igbo Community Secondary School in Owerri, the Imo State Police Command swung into action to clear the suspected criminals who engaged the men of Imo State Police Command in a shootout.
Achievements of the command in the last 24 hours. Precisely on Sunday, 28th of this month, operatives from this command acting on information that some court members were having a meeting somewhere. Proceeded to the scene, and the course of which we had a shootout with the court members.
After the dust of the confrontation between the police and the suspected criminals were cleared, the police captured 2, killed 1, while others escaped into the nearby bush with bullet wounds.
Finish. This is my keke. My papers, everything is okay. They called me on drop. I'm a keke driver. I don't know. I don't know the road. I was the one standing. I was standing. I didn't know that police people are there, so I don't know where to run to. I stand. I told them that I'm a keke driver. This is my keke.
I know him. We are just a cultist, but we are not Arabas. We are cultists.
Okay, even this one.
Yes.
Which call do you belong to?
Blackers.
But you are not armed robbers.
We are not Arabas.
How were you arrested?
We were arrested when we were doing a meeting.
Huh?
We were arrested when we were doing a meeting. That's all I can say.
The Deputy Commissioner of Police says the police will not relent in ensuring that those injured in the shootout are arrested.
Proactive measures have been taken to arrest the situation. That is why we're asking for your support. We're asking for information from members of the public. Because we can't do it alone. We cannot be everywhere. So we need your support. We need you to give us information so that we can together fight this crime.
But for those who are in the police custody, the next line of action is to appear before the courts to test their culpability for their alleged crime. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break. Please stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Security sources and eyewitnesses have confirmed that at least 35 people have been killed in ongoing attacks on several military checkpoints and police stations in Egypt's northern Sinai. Sources said about 70 fighters of a group calling itself the province of Sinai simultaneously attacked several targets in the area on Wednesday, the sources said. At least 22 of the fighters were killed and 3 of their vehicles were destroyed. Sources ordered Egypt's Air Force deployed fighter jets to the region to assist the army in the ongoing battle. There were also reports that Israel has closed down its shared border crossing with Egypt. Sources also say that all Egyptian security forces and at two checkpoints at Sheikhs were killed. The mortuary in El Arish received at least 35 bodies, Egyptian security sources said, adding that at least 11 soldiers were among the dead. However, local media reports suggested that the death toll of the attack could be much higher. The Egyptian daily Al-Haman reported that there had been no official death toll because ambulances had trouble reaching the injured and killed for fear of getting caught in the crossfire. An Egyptian blogger, Abbas, says the attack was highly coordinated, adding that it bore imprints of terror groups ISIS, whose supporters earlier tweeted that they will eradicate all presence of the military on the Sinai. No fewer than 2 policemen were injured in a grenade attack in Bujumbura, the Burundi capital, on Wednesday. This is coming as the country awaits results from Monday's parliamentary election, which was boycotted by the opposition. Reports say sporadic gunfire was also heard in several other flashpoint districts in Bujumbura, marring celebrations marking Burundi's Independence Day. Burundi has been locked in its worst political crisis since its civil war ended a decade ago, with protests erupting in late April against President Pierre Nkurunziza's bid to seek a third term in office. The presidential election is due on July 15th. Syrian refugees in Lebanon will now get just about $13 worth of food each in the month of July. World Food Programme, running short of cash, decided to halve the value of food vouchers given to the refugees as a result of paucity of funds. The UN agency, in a statement released on Wednesday, said it may also cut all help for the 440,000 Syrians in August. WFP regional Director for the Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia and Eastern Europe, Mohand Hani, said refugees were already struggling to cope with the little food they could provide. And now we go straight to sport, where Lionel Messi produced a scintillating individual performance as Argentina destroyed Paraguay 6-1 to reach the final of the Copa America on Tuesday. The Barcelona superstar tormented Paraguay mercilessly as the favorite produced their best display of the tournament and advanced to a showdown with Chile in Saturday's final. Although Messi failed to end his run of more than 900 minutes without an international goal from open play, he turned creator as Argentina tore Paraguay apart. Goals from Angel Di Maria to Marcos Rojo, Javier Pastore, Sergio Aguero and Gonzalo Higuain completed an emphatic rot for the South American giant. The USA will play in their 4th Women's World Cup final after beating 2-time winners Germany at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Germany striker Celia Sasik missed a penalty on 58 minutes, but USA captain Carly Lloyd kept her head to score from the spot 10 minutes later. Substitute Kelly Okra booked the U.S. place in the final 6 minutes from time with a close-range volley. The winners will play England or Japan in Vancouver at 0-0 best on Monday. It was a hard-fought semi-final encounter played out in front of a partisan crowd of more than 15,000. But English-born coach Jill Ellis' USA side took their chances to end Germany's World Cup dreams. And that's our news for this hour. Thank you so much for watching. Please join us again. I am Kev.